thought I had it on. Are we ready? Okay. All right. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to our 2023 annual meeting. My name is Brian Konechka. I'm the board chair of the Historical Society of Saginaw County. It's great to see everyone this morning. It's our first time getting together since, well, it was February 2020, I believe, since we've been in person. So welcome back, everyone, and again, great to see everyone. We'd like to move on next to, we're going to get started with the Pledge of Allegiance. I would invite you to stand if you're able, and we'll recite it together. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Great. Thank you very much. At this time, I'd like to introduce our board of directors. And if you're here today, I know many of you are. If you could just stand or wave your hand to be recognized. We have Tamara Carter, Dr. Robert Emmerich, Judge Elian Fickner, Dr. Amy French, Kathy Gonzalez, Cheryl Hadsel, Chip Hendrick, Dr. Brad Jarvis, Erlinda Martinez, Dorian Phelps, Larry Rodarte, Delana Spates-Allen, Jack Taney, and Ricardo Verdoni. That is your board of directors for the Historical Society of Saginaw County. So thank you to all of you for your service and your time. We have a lot of really great meetings, and I appreciate your dedication and service. Yep, please. So again, this is our first meeting in several years, and but over the last couple of years, we've created video meetings for our members to watch and receive our annual information and plans for the future. Due to the change in format over the last couple of years, we don't have anything to approve from a prior year. However, now that we've restarted our in-person annual meetings, we'll resume standard procedures at our next meeting. Previous year's videos are available on our YouTube channel, and you can find those at the Castle Museum on YouTube. Now I'd like to welcome to the podium our treasurer, Dr. Amy French, to provide a financial report.
Thanks, Brian. Hi, everyone. Lower. A copy of the 2022 finance report is included on page 28 of the annual report booklet. We finished the year, I'm proud to say, fiscally sound and within budget. Rising costs do present some challenges, however, but we continue to monitor our expenses closely, regularly review interest rates, secure grants to assist with operational and project costs, utilize the skills and talents of the staff to complete projects and exhibits and maintain the building using in-house resources, and research cost-efficient products and solutions without sacrificing quality. At this time, I move to accept the 2022 finance report subject to audit. May I please have a second to motion? All right, I have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. The motion has carried. I'm now going to introduce a bylaw amendment. A copy of the proposed HSSC bylaw amendment is included in your documents today and was also included in the most recent issue of the Courier. This proposal recommends amending the deadline to hold this annual meeting of the membership from March 1st, moving it to May 31st. As I mentioned before, the financials presented to you today are subject to audit. Our audit, when the board of directors reviews this, generally takes place in March. So our financials, final financials aren't reported until April. The HSSC would like to hold the annual meeting of the membership after the audit has been completed, so finalized reports can be provided to you. This change would also have a big benefit to all of us who have tried to do this in the snow. It would help us to avoid the bad weather and travel conditions that we've had, gratefully, knock on wood, I like this year, but it's been pretty bad in past years, if you remember correctly, in January and February. So hopefully that will, we'll have nicer weather come May. At this time, I move to accept the proposed change to the HSSC bylaws. May I please have a second to the motion? All right, I hear support. All those in favor? All those opposed? Nay? Okay, no nays. The motion has carried. Please welcome our President and Chief Executive Officer, Jonathan Webb, to review the last year and discuss our plans for 2023.
Well, good morning, everyone. It is truly wonderful to see all these members here in person. It has been far too long. I think you would agree with me on that. One thing, and that was due to COVID, obviously, but sometimes out of everything difficult and challenging comes growth. And so what ended up happening with us with COVID is we kind of just reanalyzed how we do business here at the Castle Museum. And we had to find new ways to connect to our audience. And it just made us begin to think, everything that was in place before, were we doing it in the most efficient manner? And so we decided that we wanted to do this meeting a little bit differently. We wanted to do the business meeting first instead of after the dinner. We wanted to have everybody together in a room like this where we can speak to you, and then we're going to go and we're going to get number one, so you guys can get reacquainted with yourselves, right? And then I next want to get you reacquainted with our board of directors, which Brian introduced. And then I'm going to introduce our staff as well and bring them up so that you can get reacquainted with the staff, because it's been a long time since you've seen these people. And then last but not least, certainly, I want you to get reacquainted with the museum. So the idea for the food portion of today's event is that you can go help yourself to these appetizers that have been prepared for us by Tom Wood Catering, and they've done a fabulous job. We've used them at several events here. You can just get a small plate of appetizers and walk around and visit the exhibits, because there's probably things here that you haven't seen, all right? Because we have been active even despite the challenges presented to us. So that's kind of how the format of today's event is going to work. And I want to also thank, I know Brian introduced the board already, but I also want to thank the board. We have really made an effort to put together a board that's representative of our entire county in terms of gender, age, race, vocational experience, skills. We really have an incredibly talented group of people that are at the top of this organization leading it. So thank you so much for your volunteerism. Thank you for your willingness to provide expert advice when we ask for it. And please keep up the good work on behalf of the residents of Saginaw County. Now, that's the board part. I would now like to bring the staff forward. If I could have all the staff come up and stand right here, please, to my left. They did not want to do this, by the way, so I gave them no choice this morning. So when I introduce you, if you could just please step forward, and so that everyone can, again, get reacquainted with you, right? So let's all face that way. Let's all turn around and face the crowd. Yep. There we go. Okay. All right, so I'm going to kind of break this up into sections. I'm going to start with what I consider to be the administrative staff. So in addition to myself as the president and CEO, we have Ashley Zender. Ashley, please step forward. Ashley is our office manager and our accounting manager. She's actually the organizer. She's our work mom. She keeps the books, and she keeps us in the black, and she keeps me on track, probably most importantly, and makes sure I'm on time, or she tries at least, that I'm on time and I'm where I'm supposed to be when I'm supposed to be there. So thank you very much, Ashley. Next, I want to introduce our front desk folks. That's Deanna Coleman, Barry Reindage, and Janine Shading, and I think Janine, she is here, perfect. Yeah. So can you guys all three step forward, please? All right. So this is our first the first impression that we make on our guests is generally made by these three individuals right here. So they have to have a smile on their face every day, no matter what. They greet the guests. They share all kinds of information on the building, on the exhibits that we have currently. They direct traffic, both people here and phone calls coming in. They're the people that answer the phone when it rings. They're also monitoring our 20 security cameras at the same time. And they work as a team. So if one of them can't come for some reason, an unforeseen incident happens, we don't even have to call the other ones. They already step in and offer to fill the shift. So that's such a blessing that we have three individuals who are so willing to work with each other and work for each other. And then most importantly, we can trust them to handle situations. No matter how many things you try to think of and write into a manual about this is how you handle this, I guarantee you the first day something that's not in that manual happens. All right? So the fact that we can trust these guys to handle a situation and know that they're going to do it with the best interest of the Castle Museum at heart at all times is a super valuable thing to us. So thank you, all three of you, very much. And feel free to clap after each person that I introduce. So, okay. Yeah, how about for Ashley? Let's hear. Ashley, step forward. You know. Okay, next is our collections department. So I'm going to start with Sandy Schwan, our chief curator. Sandy's in charge overall of the safekeeping, cataloging, and retrieval when needed of the tens of thousands of artifacts that are in our collection, most of which are stored across the street in our annex. You'll notice in your book it mentions that they have now managed to enter 86,000 items into our Past Perfect software system, which is a database management system for museums. And then she also assists us in exhibit development. And then one of the things I'm very excited about, and this was completely Sandy's brainchild this year, was a new program that we started where we want to make sure that we are representative of the entire county. So she had an idea to go to some of the more rural places that perhaps don't get opportunities to be involved with the museum directly. So she takes her laptop and a scanner and then invites locals to come and bring their family photos to her in their locale, and we scan them so that we have them for our collection. And it's been a wonderful program. So already, and by the way, Sandy wanted to do like one a month. So she wanted to do 12 this year, and I reined her in, and thank God, because we did 3, and that has been, the response and the number of photos that we got was so tremendous that I don't know that we could have done more than 3. And so I'm really glad I reined that one in before it got out of control. But we're going to continue to do that each year, and probably with a target of hitting about 3 different places. So this year we did Tamath Township, and we did Birch Run Township, and then we did the Saginaw County Fair. And so we're going to continue to go to some of those outlying areas and make sure that those families feel that they're part of this museum and that we can bolster our collection with their family photos. So, and then in addition, the largest portion of our the volunteers that serve with us work with Sandy across the street in the collections department. So she manages a lot of volunteers too. So Sandy, thank you very much. Jeff Cottrell, the jack of all trades, as he refers to himself. Jeff of all trades. This is going to get confusing because we have 3 Jeffs, and some of you are aware of that already. But so Jeff's official title is our registrar and IT specialist, IT referring to computers, networks, video recording equipment. So he handles all of that stuff without really formal training in that. He's figured all this stuff out on his own. Then he's also the registrar, which means he's doing the initial handling of donations that are coming in for artifacts into the museum. And then he has taken it upon himself to take further education classes over the last couple of years to become more well-rounded in the area of collections. So appreciate that. And again, as I mentioned, he handles almost all of the network, computer, audio-visual issues that we have, set up, take down, all that kind of stuff. He also serves as vice president, is that correct, of the Saginaw County Sports Hall of Fame. And I don't know if Jack Taney's here, but Jack Taney was the founder and longtime president. He's not on that board anymore, but he is actually serving on the board of the Castle Museum now, so it's wonderful to have him. So Jeff is the vice president of the Saginaw County Sports Hall of Fame, so he's really our liaison with that group as well. And, of course, he's helped Sandy with volunteer coordination, so thank you, Jeff. one individual that was unfortunately not able to be here with us today, and she's new. Her name is Autumn Rivard, and she's a curatorial assistant. She began as an intern, and much like the 3 students who are pictured on page 27 of your booklet, we had 3 interns from CMU. She was an SVSU grad and then went on to CMU to work on her master's, and she did some independent contract work for us with the Hartley Nature Center project, and now we hired her part-time, and I can tell you she probably won't be here long. This is a stepping stone for her because she's very talented. We were fortunate to be able to use her at least on a part-time basis, but I know she's actively seeking full-time employment with a historical organization, and she just had an interview with a huge one down in Detroit. So we're partly hoping that she gets it and partly hoping that she doesn't, because then she has to leave. But Autumn has been great. Adam Preem, right here, front row. Adam is also an assistant in the collections department. We found that his specialty is scanning images, so he's become quite adept at that. And Adam is also working part-time for us, and we sure appreciate your contribution, Adam. So thank you, Adam. Our archaeology department, it's a one-man show. So Jeff Summer is our curator of archaeology. And Jeff is quite an expert in the meticulous work involved in recovering, analyzing, interpreting, and caring for artifacts that are recovered at dig sites throughout our county. He's also extremely popular on social media. We call him the rock star. For whatever reason, Jeff's posts, the numbers are off the chart. And so he's really good at that. And, well, yeah. Yeah. Yep. But we have to be careful because we really don't want to divulge the location of these digs that he's at, because the last thing we want is someone out there falling in the hole that they don't see, or thinking that they can dig on their own at a site where we know there's valuable things, right? So it's kind of a fine line we walk there. So Jeff talks about what he's doing and where he's at, but he can't really divulge the location at the same time. So it's kind of fun. But we're going to continue to keep him working hard. He usually has a volunteer or 2 that are out there with him throughout the summer. He kind of works in the field in the summer, and then all the stuff that he recovers in the summer, he brings back here, cleans, catalogs, and stores. And an interesting note, and this I don't think gives away too much, much of last summer and likely this coming summer, as the sun rises in the east, Jeff is in a kayak kayaking to his work site. So just an interesting way to go to work, for sure. So he sends us gorgeous photographs of the sunrises, river sunrises, unbelievable. So thank you very much, Jeff Summer. Okay, our exhibits department, Jeff Pelkey, Jeff number 3. So Jeff comes from a fine arts background. That's what he studied in school. He's a very talented artist and a musician with a love of history. So that's a really great combination. I challenged him, a couple years ago to think outside the box when he's developing new exhibits. I think we got stuck in a rut where we were doing text panels with a photo, and that was the main focus of our exhibits. And we have really made an effort to make our exhibits much more immersive, and I think you'll notice that today as you walk around. The results, I think, speak for themselves as you walk through the museum today. So we're going to continue working towards that, improving our exhibits. He's done some fantastic work. We got a vinyl cutting machine that has completely changed our ability to do in-house exhibits, and we're really excited about that. So thank you very much, Jeff Pelkey, for your work. Just a couple things I want to mention too, I guess. I'm just trying to work in, so as I talk about these people and all the wonderful things they've already done, to also just give you a little bit of a sneak preview. So when we're talking about exhibits, this year, you'll see the exhibits that we have currently here right now, and our main exhibit is, as far as our temporary exhibits go, is Home Ice, and that's the history of professional hockey here in Saginaw. And so I think you'll enjoy that. But we do have a really interesting year planned, and our focus for our main exhibits throughout this year of 2023 is on agriculture. And we're kicking that off with a traveling exhibit that's coming called The American Farmer, which is a photograph and text exhibit. A gentleman traveled all around the country interviewing and photographing farmers in different parts of the United States. we're tying into that with an exhibit that we're going to develop ourselves about agriculture in Saginaw County, all the way back to its earliest origins, up through and including family farms. There's going to be a whole exhibit about centennial farms, and then also talking about the agriculture industry in Saginaw County, which has been huge. So that's going to be our main focus for the year. We do have some other exhibits planned throughout the year, and we have one more traveling exhibit coming as well towards the end of the year, which is a history of political signs, political posters. So that should be fascinating as well. So, okay, our facilities. So let's have Barb Dewey step forward. And Barb hates, right? Step forward. There we go. and Barb, I was going to try to say, remember how long you've been here, but it was long before I was here. So do you know how many years? 95 years she's been working here. So, yep. Oh, sorry, 19 since 1995. Yep. Barb's been here a long time. She absolutely works tirelessly. Her love for this building and the organization are very, very evident in the meticulous care that she takes of it. And all you have to do again today as you walk around is just look at the condition that she keeps the interior of this building in. So thank you so much, Barb, for your very, very hard work. Our grounds and maintenance supervisor, Wayne Greenia. Come on over, Wayne. Nope, come on out here. Yeah. Again, somebody who does not like to be in front of the spotlight. Too bad. I've said this, and he's probably sick of hearing it, but the smartest thing I ever did, in my opinion, since I started here, was I changed this position from a part-time job into a full-time job so that I could hire him. And that has paid off, honestly, so many times over, just financially speaking, because he assumed so many jobs that we were subcontracting out, everything from snow removal, lawn maintenance, construction of exhibits, plumbing, electrical, all these different things that, and Dick was fantastic, but it was a very part-time job. But now that it's a full-time job and he has so many different skills, it's been incredibly beneficial to us. And I mentioned the exhibit thing. You know, Wayne will come to me, hey, I need to go spend $100 on lumber. Is that okay? And I'm like, yeah, because that fixture, if I had to go buy it, would cost $1,500, right? And if you look at these fixtures that he's building, they're gorgeous, fantastic woodworking skills you have, Wayne. And so he's just been a tremendous contribution, tremendous contributor to our efforts. So thank you so much, Wayne. All right. Next is our outreach department. So I'm going to start with Dr. Jennifer Vanette. And technically, Jen's not new this year because she started right at the very, very end of 2021. So she's been here a little bit more than a year. Jen has a PhD in history. We actually created a new position for her as well, and that is that position of outreach coordinator. We had an education coordinator. We had a marketing coordinator. We had people doing programming here, there, and everywhere, and I felt like it all needed to be tied together under one roof. And so we created this position that we call outreach. So she is managing the marketing efforts. She's managing the educational outreach. She's managing programming that's happening in the museum. She's managing programming that we're taking to others. And I told her in a conversation just recently, I said, you know, you were exactly what we needed. And we didn't know it at the time because we kind of were, I don't want to say flying by the seat of our pants, but we were creating it as it was happening, right? When I met her and we interviewed her, and she just seemed like she was the person that could do all these things. And so we are so happy to have you. She's brought so many new things. I'm not going to go along a lot more because I'm going to actually ask her to come up and talk about our outreach program because it is new when I get done introducing the rest of the staff. So thank you very much, Jen. Next is Christy Furtaw. And Christy is our education coordinator. She specializes in delivering programming to elementary kids and using our time machine. Those of you who have been members for a long time remember the old semi that we had, History on the Move, and that was an award-winning and a really nice program. But we, again, analyzed that and just said there are so many liabilities and so much cost involved in this, and we're so much limited because a changeover in that cost many $1,000s, and we had that program, that was the only program we could offer out of that vehicle. So Based on all those things, we decided to downsize the vehicle, and it also required somebody with a CDL, is that what it's called? License to drive it. So we decided to downsize to a vehicle that anybody that's a staff member could drive. We would make programs in small modules that we could take to the schools and take them inside and offer them versus the kids coming outside to go through the truck. That allowed us to develop multiple programs that we could deliver even on the same day, and for different grade levels. So this just offered us so much more flexibility than we had before, and we were really, really pleased about this program, and it was just starting to get rolling, and then, of course, COVID happened, right? And then nobody could come to the schools anymore. So again, we had to figure out ways that we could deliver that programming in other ways. Now that we're back to normal, I will say, or getting close, she has taken the time machine and just literally run with it. I mean, right now, she's a part-time staff member here. We don't see her anymore because she is literally at a school every day, almost all day, on her days that she's working. So fantastic job. Really appreciate that. And at some point, we're going to have to get somebody to help you, or you're going to have to start working more hours, because I don't know, because she's pretty much close to maxed out right now as far as with the programs she's offering. So thank you very much, Christy. Great job. Our newest staff member is Dr. Catherine Ellison. Please step forward. Also a PhD in history. So as you see, that's 2 now that we have, right? That helps. She's the former director of the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute at SVSU, quite a prestigious position. Newest member of our staff. She's eminently qualified, extremely talented, self-motivated, gives us so many new opportunities and options for our outreach program. She's handling the marketing, so she's doing the annual meeting booklet that you see today. She put that together. The newsletter that you're getting in the mail, she's putting that together. She's doing all the social media posts, website updates, all that kind of stuff. And so we have a person who's capable of doing all that marketing type stuff, but then also has the history background. So she can deliver programming as well. So really, really, and also, I guess I should mention this as a whole, so many of these people serve with other organizations. So she's also on the Hemlock School Board. And that's wonderful, a network, that she creates for us, right? A whole new group of people that she's in touch with. So welcome and thank you. You've done a fantastic job so far. So please welcome and Catherine. Gee, is that everybody? Oh, there's one other person. Tom. So last but definitely not least, Tom Trombley, our vice president and chief historian. So Tom started at the museum in 1981. As the chief curator, so that would be Sandy's job, right? So you were the original Sandy, yeah. Okay. He left for a while, but returned in 2009. Tom is involved with almost everything that happens here at the museum. His knowledge of Saginaw County history is second to none. His research is behind many of the exhibits that you see as you walk through the museum, and many of the posts that you see online. He's involved in a ton of different community organizations, always has been. His experience and wisdom is counted on by the entire staff. I'm replaceable. He is not replaceable, okay? And actually, I think so appropriate, and we are so proud of him. In 2022, this last year, he received the highest honor bestowed by the Historical Society of Michigan, which is their Lifelong Achievement Award. And that's given to one individual in a year, and it reflects someone who has spent their career and their life promoting and preserving history here in the state of Michigan. So, Tom, thank you so much for everything that you do. Again, you are irreplaceable. You're like this building. It wouldn't be the same without you, right? So, yeah. Well, that's private. But anyway, could you all please join me in a round of applause for Tom? I know Tom. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I promised Tom a couple months ago that I would stop mentioning that, because we had a special event for him here to honor him for it, and then when it was done, he was like, "Thank God, now we don't have to talk about this anymore." But one more time, and that was it. And this is the last time, I promised, Tom. Okay. So, all right. So thank you so much for the entire staff. I'm going to actually ask Jen to come forward right now and just talk for a minute about the outreach program. You guys can go sit.
All right. Okay. So yeah, I just want to share a few brief highlights about things that are going on with our outreach. Outreach is really all about community engagement. So that is our goal. How do we engage all of the people in our community as frequently and in as many different ways as possible? We're doing that in traditional ways. Like, we're maintaining things like our Lunch and Learn series of speakers that has been very popular, and now that we're, able to be back in person, we see it growing, and it's very exciting to see that. So we're keeping those traditions alive, and we're adding in some consistency. So now we know that there will be a speaker every second and fourth Tuesday at noon. You may lose your calendar and not know who's speaking, but if it's a second or fourth Tuesday, you can come here and have a cup of coffee and hear something really amazing. We're also adding new things, though, new ways to engage, and that includes some evening programming, such as our History After Hours, which are third Thursdays. And those are similar to our Lunch and Learn in that it's an eminently qualified person to speak on a particular topic, very interesting, but now people who work during the day and can't get away are able to join us, and we found that they're really appreciative of that. So those are third Thursdays at 5:30. Again, consistency helps. And then on first Thursdays, we've started a totally different type of thing. We do museum mingles, which provide live music. And our acoustics are fantastic. If you have not been here for live music, you need to come, because you can wander the whole museum to this backdrop of all this beautiful music. And we've partnered with SVSU, music department, and students are coming. They get a chance for a professional gig, and we get this amazing music, and it's been really wonderful. So those are first Thursdays. So it's a way to have fun with what we already have. John already talked about Christy going out into the schools. That's, a tradition that, has grown so much since we've come out of the worst of the pandemic. But she's also doing things to partner, and bringing those partnerships, collaborations have been key for us this year, and we're going to continue to grow that in the new year. So the Mid-Michigan Children's Museum has come and done programming with us, and Christy has gone and helped with programming there. The Delta Learning Channel did a virtual field trip, which is amazing and available online on YouTube. But they also came and provided programming. Well, that was so popular, STEM Days for Kids at the castle, that adults called us and said, well, I want STEM too. So we said, okay. And we partnered with SVSU Physics. And they are coming and tying to what is in our exhibit. So it's still these interconnections, because everything has a history and everything has science, right? So they first came last year to do optics experiments because we had Goodrich Brothers, so photography. So they explained that science behind that. And then we recently just had one tied to our hockey exhibit. So we got to learn about the bend of the stick, not just the force of the hit. And it was really cool. It was really fun. They want to keep coming, and we want them to keep coming. And with agriculture now, SVSU's biology department said, well, we want to come too. So we're going to keep growing and having fun with that. So, and I should mention, Christy's also doing our own programming in new ways in the museum. So she's starting hands-on history so that people can come in and touch and feel and craft and do things, because it just helps bring things alive. And so those are on Saturdays, so that kids can come when they're not at school, and adults can come because they're not working. And so we're looking at all these different ways where we can reach new people who maybe can't come during our traditional business hours. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is online. Our website is kind of our front door at this point. Most people will look online before they'll come to a new place. So we think about that as our first impression in many ways, and we treat it accordingly. And we spend a lot of time working on engagement and building audiences online. So our website is one way, and we have our blog where we can share things that maybe we don't have enough material to make a complete exhibit. but we can share something very fascinating about Saginaw history in a brief virtual way. And then we also do things like doing that with our social media posts. Our very popular posts on Saturdays, Tom does an artifact, like a deep dive on one artifact. And it's just a really brief thing that's on our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Our historical recipes are probably our most popular, and Ashley still holds the record for Werner's float pie of the most engagement. She's very excited about that. But people really love it, and we love playing America's Test Kitchen. But don't ask us, like, really how to make things, because we're winging it. But usually comes out all right, and we're having fun with it. So Tom helps provide history. Sandy helps provide the history behind what it is, who maybe created the recipe, or what restaurant it might have been featured in, things like that. And then we get to tell the history, and then we get to have fun trying to make the recipe and seeing what happens. And we promise Tom no more suet. So. So that is just a nutshell of what we're doing. Our goal is to continue to expand our welcome, include people, and make sure everyone's stories are told.
Thank you. Jen also brings to us, I guess, an eye, if you will, for it's kind of a buzzword in the museum community these days, and actually a lot of places, DEI, so diversity, equity, inclusion. She is really quite well versed in that, and just brings that perspective to everything we do. So that goes into all of our thinking now, exhibits-wise, action-wise, whatever we're doing, that is now, we're looking at it through that lens. So I want to talk just a little bit about volunteers. We had over 100 volunteers help us this past year, and I'm going to ask each one of them to come up and speak for 5 minutes. No, I'm kidding. Those 100 volunteers gave over 3,000 hours of their time to work with us. We couldn't do what we do, even with this incredibly talented staff, we couldn't do what we do without the volunteers. So thank you so much. They help us with exhibits, with the collection, assist with archaeology projects. They serve as tour guides. They help with events like today. We have a group that keeps our garden on a weekly basis and comes and grooms it. The grounds look absolutely gorgeous, and we did a landscaping project this past year, which really hasn't had an opportunity to be showcased. You'll see a difference when you come and look at the plants this coming summer. It should be gorgeous. But if you are interested in volunteering, please let us know. It's a great way to make friends, make a valuable contribution to this organization and to our community. So we would love to have you be part of it if you're interested. At this time, I'm going to actually recognize one volunteer, our Volunteer of the Year. This individual is with us today, but he does not know that he's being honored, so this is always kind of fun. So I'm going to ask him to come forward when I announce his name, and then I'm going to just talk about what a wonderful person he is. So Dr. Brad Jarvis, would you please come forward? He's like, me? Yeah. Yeah, you. You would have sat in a different place, wouldn't you, if you'd known? Yeah. Or he wouldn't have come at all, probably, is what he would have. All right. So this is Dr. Brad Jarvis. He's got a PhD in history. He's a history professor at SVSU. His first involvement at the museum, we think, was in 2011 when we worked with him to bring an intern from SVSU. Since then, numerous students under his tutelage have served as interns here at the museum and other museums as well. When I was the director over in Frankenmuth, I had one of Brad's students as an intern. I ended up hiring her as a part-time staff member, and today that student, Heidi Reinbold Chapman, is now the executive director of the Frankenmuth Historical Association. So he's a historian, but has a strong interest in archaeology as well. So he began volunteering in the archaeology department in 2014. Over the last 9 years, he's worked on almost every project that we've been involved in as far as archaeology goes. The Saginaw Grand River Canal site, the Borchard Park shovel test, Swan Creek area dig, the Stelz Reed site, Spencer Woods site, and most recently the Tittabawassee Boom Company boarding house site. The insights and information that we have obtained from Brad through his historical research are invaluable for understanding and interpreting the archaeological evidence that we find. In 2015, the museum co-hosted the Historical Society of Michigan Conference along with SVSU, and Brad served as the conference chair. And he gave local tours, I think of a cemetery, right, for the conference. Yep. He's always on the lookout for grants that might improve our facilities, equipment, and collection, and has secured grants for us. When we built the Our Foundations exhibit in the lower level, Brad took an active part in the research and wrote the text for 3 of the panels down there. He frequently collaborates with us on numerous projects and utilizes our resources for his students at SVSU, helping to ensure that the development of a whole new generation of historians right here in our own backyard. And to this day, Brad still volunteers weekly here, either in the collections department across the street or in the archaeology department. And on top of all that, he currently serves as the vice chair on our board of directors. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in honoring our 2022 Volunteer of the Year, Dr. Brad Jarvis. You want to say anything?
I have nothing prepared. So I just want to thank everybody. Thank everybody for coming. John's right. I do spend a lot of time here because I like the people that work here. I like the institution. And I think the reason we're all here today is because we all have an appreciation for this place and what it means. So I thank you for this. I really appreciate it. It was a total surprise. And there are so many others that I work with that are just as deserving as this. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
I want to take one last thing before I turn it back over to Brian, and then you guys get to go eat. I just want to recognize some board members who left in recent years. We recognize them through our virtual annual meetings, but didn't get a chance to bring them up and recognize them in front of the group. Unfortunately, of these 4, only one of them was able to be with us today, but I'm going to just introduce them and just describe a little bit about them. So Larry Toft is one. He was a board member from 2008 to the beginning of 2022. Larry was a former educator. He was a fantastic board member. He also wrote a book, which he sold and then donated all the proceeds. It was about downtown Saginaw, and then he donated all the proceeds, all the profits from that book. He donated back to the museum. Second is Fred Borchard. He was a board member from 2000 to 2021. And Fred is still active here. He visits regularly. His family has a great interest in historical preservation, and he was a fantastic board member. Just got to the point in his life where he felt like he wanted to be able to travel. He'd retired from the bench, and although I think that's more of a semi-retirement, it sounds like he's doing a lot of part-time stuff. But so Fred was a valuable board member too and served for 22 years. Third, Ken Willman. Ken was a board member from 2006 to 2021, and we were hoping Ken would make it today, but I think Jackie's here, right? Yes, thank you. So appreciate that, thank you. Ken was actually hugely instrumental in our membership drives on an annual basis. I mean, he was involved in a lot of different things here at the museum, but he always took the lead on that membership drive and did a fantastic job of that, so we really appreciate Ken. And then last but not least, this gentleman only served for a mere 27 years on the board. 27 years. Bill Crane, can you come forward? I know Bill's here. I saw him come in. Okay. Come on up, Bill. So again, the amount of knowledge, of organizational knowledge alone that this gentleman has provided me when I first got here is beyond words. And the fact that he was so actively involved, and I will say, if you remember, we asked for a millage increase in 2018 and narrowly lost. And then when we came up again for the millage in 2020 as a renewal, that was a do or die. Like, we had to get that passed for this organization to survive. And Bill kind of took that personally, that he was going to make sure this didn't fail, right? And so with his own checkbook and a letter writing campaign that he did on his own, he started the fundraising for the millage committee, and I really, really appreciate that, Bill. You ensured that we are in business for another 6 years, right? And so Bill's still active. He actually just invited me to be the speaker for the Exchange Club, a group that I had no familiarity with, didn't know any of the individuals in there. That was a wonderful opportunity for us to network with a whole new group of people. Really appreciate that. So we are still, even though he is not an active board member anymore, he's still an active member. And he's here regularly, participates in all of our events, and we really, really appreciate everything you've done for this organization, Bill. Thank you. I got something for you.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks. This plaque we'd like to present to you for your 27 years of service. Thank you again. Okay, so the last thing I will leave you with before I turn it back over to Brian is to say thank you, members, for being here today. Thank you for continuing to be part of this organization. We emphasized on the front cover of the booklet that you all got that we are stronger together. Our year in 2022 was all about collaboration, working with other organizations, working with other individuals to make us a better place and a better organization. So you can be part of that as well. How do you do that? I would ask that you just participate. Come to our events. Look at our social media pages. See what's going on. Be part of it, right? Volunteer if that's what you like. Talk to your friends about the importance of this organization. When we passed that last millage in 2020, we had a staff meeting the next day, all right? And we said, every day from now until the summer of 2026, we are working towards passing that next millage. Everything we do reflects on our organization. So we need to show this community and this county why we have value, right? So you can help us with that. Demonstrate and explain to your friends, peers, family, what the value of this organization is. Help us when that next millage, and we're halfway there already. It seems like just yesterday we did this, but we got to do it again in 2026. So we're about 3 years in right now, almost halfway there. So again, your support for that is greatly appreciated, and thank you again for coming today. Again, when we're done, when Brian dismisses the meeting, you don't have to go to the food immediately. That's going to be out there for about an hour and a half. And so, if you want to just grab something and stroll around, or there's beverages out there, both adult and non-alcoholic beverages are out there. So please stay as long as you like today. There's no end to this. When we dismiss you from the business meeting, you're free to eat and roam the museum as long as you want. The food will probably come down, like I said, in about an hour and a half, but then the museum's open until 4:30 today, so stay as long as you'd like. And I will say one last thing. I just see Chris here. The St. Charles, which is one of our out-county museums that's also supported by that millage, has been going through a whole move to a new location in St. Charles. They have a fantastic, much more centrally located location in downtown St. Charles, and their grand reopening is going to be February 18th from 5 to 8 p.m., and I'm sure you'd love to invite everybody to that, right? Yeah, okay. So St. Charles Area Museum's grand reopening February 18th. And I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up then for me and pass it back to Brian. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming today, and I hope you have a nice day here at the museum.
Great, thanks, John. And I understand that now I'm the person standing between you and lunch. So my remarks will be brief, because I don't know that there's much more that I could say that you haven't heard today, because I mean, all I can feel is wow. I mean, what a tremendous program today. An incredibly dedicated staff, which you got to learn and meet everybody today. And even if you knew them, maybe you learned something new about them today too. And again, thanks to all of our board members for their tireless dedication to this organization. And we look forward to many great things to come. So with that, I would say have a great rest of your day. And I hope that, like John said, you enjoy lunch today and explore the museum and check out everything that's new. So again, thanks for coming. It's great to see everybody. Thank you.